Okay, good. So we'll just run. Who doesn't need a quick laugh to go along with some food for thought? Hello, I'm Dan Hill, the host of Scrambled Eggs, Tips and Tactics for Tackling Tough Business Problems. Today's guest is David Avrin. He's the author of Why Customers Leave and How to Win Them Back. David is a highly popular international speaker on the subjects of both the customer experience and marketing. In addition, he's the former CEO, group leader, and speaker for Vistage International. So, David, you've been given 5 terms and a diabolical definition for each for my new book, Blah, 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 A Snarky Guide to Office Lingo. There's a little truth in every joke. Of these 5, which one is your favorite? Please read it aloud and explain why you chose it.
You know, the one I chose that I think they all resonate with me in a very good way, but I think the one I chose is the one that says the call menu options, the opportunity to scream representative into your phone repeatedly. You know, it boggles my mind how far companies are willing and eager to go to prevent us from talking to a real person. I mean, it's anything that they can do. And of course, when you call now, it's like, please listen as our menu options have changed. Not like we had memorized your menu options anyway to begin with, and then you're listening to press 1 for this, press 2 for this. If you're bleeding profusely from the head, press 3. And you get all the way through 9 freaking things. And then you get to 0. And if you'd like to speak from an operator, please press. How about you put that at the beginning? How about if you'd like to bypass all this garbage, please press 0. But they won't do it because they don't want to do it, because they don't want us to talk to a real person. They want to do everything they can to make us suddenly navigate their HR system and understand that. And then once you finally get there, of course, then you're on hold for 45 minutes or something else. But it makes me crazy, and it makes everybody crazy. But what boggles my mind is, if we all find it frustrating to listen to long menus, when we all want at least the option of talking to a real person, millennials and consultants will say millennials don't want to talk. I think everybody wants the option. But if we're all very cognizant of that, why does it proliferate? Why do we as business owners tend to do the same thing and subject our customers? I mean, we got them on the phone. I mean, these are people that spend money with us, or we hope will spend money. We finally get them where we want them, and then we piss them off. And it's just, it boggles my mind, and I think we can do better.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree with you. And sometimes when you get to 0 for speaking to the live voice, then you get a new subset. If your issue involves blah, 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 take
Right.
1, and it keeps going like that. I mean, it's amazing. It can be 7 minutes and then the hold. I mean, it's
Right.
just,
And then the whole,
yeah.
and it's like an audio drop-down menu, and it just goes on and on. But then again, how many people, the options listed is not the option you're looking for. It's like the FAQs, these frequently asked questions. I'm not sure who are asking these questions, because apparently my questions are never frequently asked. I would like to see the rarely asked questions section, the sporadically asked questions section, because I'd be clicking all over that thing.
I have long thought of CEOs or their spouses or their parents actually called into the company with any frequency and had to go through that
Of
menu
course not.
item. Yeah, they would change it in a heartbeat.
Right. But it's the same thing with the complexity of the website. People are like, oh, I couldn't find it on your website. Oh, it's really easy. Just along the top, it's the 3rd button over. Hit the drop down. It's the 2nd one from the bottom. It's like, well, you created it. You know what? I mean, what's the most visited website on the planet? It's Google. How complicated is their website? But I mean, that's one of the challenges today. I think the real opportunity for differentiation is by becoming remarkably easy to do business with. And it's astonishing how arduous companies make their own internal process. They create this customer journey because that's the way they want us to do business. This is where you learn about us and research and contact and reach out and communicate and order and customize and pay and deliver. Right. And no matter what your model is, it's something along that. We've created this customer journey so we can control and have a greater level of predictability, right, of behavior and purchasing and revenue, right? Because we can plan for that. We can strategically plan. We can budget for that. We can hire for that. Here's the problem. Your customers have never read your employee manual. They don't know how they're supposed to do it. But you create this arduous process, and anything that takes time today, we don't put up with it. We just don't. I mean, it's not that customer loyalty is dead. It's harder to earn and harder to keep because it's becoming increasingly easy to leave you for somebody else. One of the things we learned in COVID is that there's this whole new generation of conveniences. If necessity is the mother of invention, we had a lot of needs, and we've accelerated what has long been predicted about how we're going to do business. And yet companies make it very frustrating. It's what you talk about in the 5 things that you came up with in your book as well. It's just these levels of frustration that I don't think companies are setting out to frustrate people. They're just trying to control the process to such an extent that we are supposed to follow their path. And what we've learned today is, I don't know, maybe I can just click one click. I can do it with my face. I can do it. And we've got processes that were created 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Look how much has changed in the last year and a half.
Yeah, no, they want to reduce their frustrations. So they create more frustration for us. And the customer journey, as you were talking, I went, yeah, let's see, it's cul-de-sacs, it's dead end streets. It is everything of a journey that's smooth and easy.
It's making us do business the way companies want us to do business, as opposed to the way we want to do business. Absolutely. And so the real opportunities is what I talk about when I consult and in my books and when I speak as well, is look at our own journey. How can we simplify it? There's a great scene in Apollo, was it Apollo 12, Apollo 13? What's the one that had the explosion, the Houston, we have a problem?
I think that's 13.
I think it was 13. But there's a great scene in the movie, and people remember this, that, there's the explosion on board, they're trying to figure out how to fix it. And back at NASA, they had this box filled with wires and tubes and everything else, and they dumped it on the table, and they said, this is what's in the capsule. This is all they have to work with. Solve it. Right. And one of the exercises I do when I work with clients is I say, take a process that you have. Maybe it's 13 steps to get to the very end. Order Chinese food, close the door, lock it, and saying, we'll give you, it's like these escape room things, right? You can leave the room when you've reduced that process to 6 steps. And that simplification creates phenomenal competitive advantage for others that are overly complicated. We have to go back and rethink a lot of the things that we're doing.
Okay, well, I think you're giving all sorts of wonderful tips and tactics here, but I want to give you the chance. Is there a term from your book, Why Customers Leave, that you want to put front and center for us before we close this conversation?
Oh, you know what? I think, well, there's a lot, but it's one that really sticks out for me is companies who say that we give our customers options, right? We talk about the omnichannel, and not everybody wants to do it themselves, but they say we give you options, but it really isn't an option when they're pushing us to do it one way. Right? When you're on hold with any company, they remind you over and over again to go to their website. Like, I know you're on hold, but we don't want you on hold. Just please go to the website, then we don't have to talk to you. I was at Walmart. My cart is overflowing with groceries. And I go up there and they try and direct me to self-checkout. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't work here. I didn't get a W-2 or a 1099, because apparently my wife is employee of the month at Walmart because she does her, and I'm not trying to be demeaning. I'm just not good at it. Yeah. What would take me an hour, somebody else could do in 10 minutes, but they say, no, we give you options. But when you have one staff checkout lane and 9 carts in line and 24 self-checkout, that's not an option. It's social engineering. They try to give, and so many companies try to get their customers to do business with them the way they want, as opposed to saying, we give you every option and they're all equally easy. What is your choice? Because we so value you as a customer. So my own term is the idea of giving customers options is a fallacy. It's still, they still push you to do business the way they want you to. And customers are pushing back, and they're pushing back with their absence.
Sure. Well, there's an old rock and roll song that goes something like, I'm an easygoing guy, but I always got to have things my way.
Yeah,
I think that might be the unstated anthem of most companies.
Well, here's the other anthem. You get stuck on hold. It's like Hotel California, right? You can check out anytime you like, but you can never
leave. Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun. I want to thank you so much, David. This is episode number 17 of Scrambled Eggs. I'm your host, Dan Hill, and the author of Blah, 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 A Snarky Guide to Office Lingo.